Imagine it's a typical weekday morning. You're sitting in your car, stuck in traffic, gripping the steering wheel with a little more force than usual. You can feel the tension in your hands, the firmness of the wheel against your palms. This, my friends, is a common example of pressure. You see, pressure isn't just a metaphorical term used to describe the stresses of everyday life. It's a fundamental concept in physics, one that affects virtually every aspect of our existence. But what exactly is pressure? In its simplest form, pressure is the amount of force applied per unit area. Think of it like this. If you were to press your thumb against a small coin, you'd have to apply a certain amount of force. Now, if you were to press your entire hand against a larger object, like a book, you'd have to apply more force to achieve the same effect. This is because the area over which the force is spread is larger. A great way to visualize this is by thinking about standing in a pair of high heels versus flat shoes. The force exerted by your body weight remains the same, but in high heels, this force is distributed over a much smaller area. This results in greater pressure on the ground and explains why high heels can leave dents in wooden floors. Pressure is all around us, in the air we breathe, the water we drink, and even in the earth beneath our feet. It's what allows us to inflate balloons, pump up bike tires, and even enables our heart to pump blood around our body. So, what are the key takeaways about pressure? Firstly, pressure is the amount of force applied per unit area. It's a basic concept in physics that governs a wide range of phenomena. Secondly, pressure is everywhere. It's in the air, in the water, in the ground, and even in our bodies. It plays a crucial role in many aspects of our daily lives, from the functioning of our heart to the inflation of balloons. Lastly, the amount of pressure depends on two things: the amount of force applied and the area over which it is applied. The greater the force or the smaller the area, the higher the pressure. In conclusion, pressure is an integral part of our world. It's not just a feeling of stress or tension, but a physical concept that dictates how many things in our daily lives work. By understanding pressure, we can better comprehend the world around us and perhaps even find ways to alleviate some of the metaphorical pressures we face.
Have you ever paused to ponder the myriad of things that take to the skies, defying gravity with grace and ease? From the delicate flutter of a butterfly's wings to the thunderous roar of a rocket's ascent, the world above us is teeming with airborne wonders. In this exploration, we juxtapose the humble kite against the mighty aeroplane, the free-flying bird against the controlled descent of a parachute, and the slow, graceful ascent of a hot air balloon against the rapid, determined flight of a rocket. Imagine a kite, light and flexible, dancing in the wind. It relies solely on the whims of the breeze, its flight path dictated by the invisible currents of the air. Now consider an aeroplane. Unlike the kite, an aeroplane doesn't merely go where the wind takes it. Powered by complex engines, it carves out its own path through the sky, defying wind and weather with its sturdy frame and aerodynamic design. Now, envision a bird, a marvel of natural engineering, able to ascend, descend, and change direction with a mere twitch of its wings. It is a master of the skies, able to navigate with precision and grace. In contrast, a parachute is at the mercy of gravity and air resistance, its purpose not to fly but to fall in a controlled manner, providing a safe descent from great heights. Finally, picture a hot air balloon, its colourful envelope filling with warm air, slowly rising against the backdrop of a dawn sky. It is a serene and tranquil flight, dependent on the heat of the flame and the direction of the wind. Now compare this with a rocket, a testament to human ingenuity, that propels itself into the sky with a burst of speed, breaking free of the Earth's atmosphere to reach the vast expanse of space. In comparing these diverse objects and creatures, we see a spectrum of flight. On one end, we have objects like kites and parachutes that are dependent on external forces like wind and gravity. On the other end, we have aeroplanes and rockets, human-made marvels that harness energy to dictate their own paths. In between, we have natural flyers like birds and slow, graceful ascenders like hot air balloons. In summary, the world of flight is a diverse and fascinating one. From the simple kite dancing in the wind to the powerful aeroplane cutting through the skies, from the graceful bird navigating its path to the parachute controlling its descent, and from the serene hot air balloon rising at dawn to the determined rocket shooting for the stars, each represents a unique way to defy gravity and explore the world above. This exploration not only highlights the variety of things that fly, but also underscores the fascinating interplay of natural forces and human ingenuity in the realm of flight.
Have you ever wondered why things move in the air? Why a helium balloon floats upward? Or why a paper airplane can glide across a room? It might seem like magic, but there's a scientific explanation behind it all. And it's not as complex as you might think. Welcome to our voyage of discovery into the world of air and motion. Picture this. You're at a birthday party. A helium balloon is released and it starts to float upward. But why? The answer lies in the principle of buoyancy. This principle tells us that any object in a fluid, including air, experiences an upward force. When the weight of the balloon is less than the weight of the air it displaces, it floats. The helium inside the balloon is lighter than the surrounding air, and so up it goes. Now, imagine you're in a park, tossing a frisbee to a friend. The frisbee is able to glide through the air because of a principle called lift. As the frisbee moves forward, air flows faster over the top surface than the bottom one. This creates a pressure difference, with higher pressure beneath and lower pressure above. This pressure difference generates lift, propelling the frisbee through the air. But what about when you're blowing bubbles? They float and move around due to a combination of buoyancy and the air currents around them. The soap film of a bubble is filled with air, and this air is lighter than the air outside the bubble. Thus, buoyancy kicks in and the bubble rises. The movement of the bubble is also influenced by the air currents around it. If the air is still, the bubble will rise straight up. But if there's a breeze, the bubble will drift in the direction of the wind. To tie it all together, the motion of objects in the air can be explained by a few key principles. The principle of buoyancy explains why lighter objects, like helium balloons or soap bubbles, float in the air. The principle of lift, on the other hand, describes why objects like frisbees or paper airplanes can fly. And the influence of air currents can change the direction and speed of these objects' movement. So the next time you see a helium balloon floating upward, a frisbee gliding across a field, or a bubble wafting in the breeze, you'll know the science behind their aerial dance. It's not magic, it's science, and it's happening all around us, every day. The air we often take for granted is a fascinating world of its own, filled with principles and phenomena that shape our everyday life. Isn't it amazing how understanding a few basic principles can illuminate so much of the world around us?